It's Roy Cannaday from Epic Gaming Night, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the newest tactical two-player card game from Plaid Hat games, and that is Crystal Clans. Crystal Clans is a two-player tactical head-to-head card game where players are trying to control two of the three crystal zones to be able to claim a crystal for themselves. The first player to 4 crystals wins the game. Each player will choose one of the 6 different clans and then shuffle their starting deck and draw 5 cards from that deck to make their first starting hand. You'll also place 3 crystals from the crystal deck. These crystals will be able to be gained by a person that controls 2 of the crystal zones. A player can play up to 3 units from their hands into their home zone, paying the appropriate initiative cost. The Ancestral Warriors cost 2 initiative, so you will move the initiative marker on the track towards your opponent's side. When it goes over to the green line, it becomes your opponent's turn. You can also spend initiative to activate your units. When you activate a unit, you can regroup them, you can move them, and then attack. The activation cost is equal to the highest cost on a unit in that squad. When you activate a squad and move it into a zone controlled by an enemy, you may initiate a battle. You will then both add up the strength and defense of your cards and also checking for abilities that trigger in combat. There are certain abilities with the little fire icon that will trigger if that is the top card in the squad. Then each player must secretly choose a card from their hand to add to the combat. These cards will come in 3 types, whether it's bold, guarded, or tricky. And then based off of which card your opponent chooses, you'll either get a primary special boost or the secondary one. Kind of like rock, paper, scissors. The players will add these boosts to their strength and defense or trigger the different special abilities, and then from the top down you will deal damage to the units in your opposing squad simultaneously. And if a unit has enough attack to defeat its defense, then it will go to the discard pile and be defeated. A player that controls 2 of the crystal zones simultaneously can spend initiative equal to the crystal's cost to gain that crystal. These crystals have all sorts of different special abilities that can also help you as well, but your opponent will get a huge influence boost. If you have a unit on your opponent's home zone, you can take an invade action by spending 3 initiative, and then you're able to discard cards from their deck equal to the number of attack that your units have. If a player's deck is ever completely empty, they'll reshuffle their discard pile, putting it back in their deck, but then their opponent will be able to gain a crystal without paying any initiative cost. The first player to 4 crystals immediately wins the game. Players can also spend 3 initiative to draw their hand back up to 5 cards. The initiative track is definitely a very interesting part of Crystal Clans because it remains your turn as long as you have initiative left and haven't pushed it over to your opponent's side. Let's take a look at a couple of the clans. The Skull Clan is all about regenerating their units from the discard pile. They can play them as if they were in their hand. They also have characters with fear that allow you to scare guys back to your opponent's hand, and then the Raise Dead ability allows you to play units not at your home system. The Skull Clan has all sorts of abilities having to do with death. The Blood Clan is all about getting extra units on the board. A lot of their units have the Horde ability, which allows them to get bigger squads than you can normally have. They don't have to follow the 3 limit. They also have some characters with flight that allow them to move further. They're all about utilizing having multiple units out. The Meteor Clan is all about being able to predict what card your opponent is going to play in battle. They also have a lot of things that boost different defenses and things like that, and have cards that combo off of each other. The Flower Clan is all about tricks and speed. They have the Sleep ability, which allows you to ignore the attack of the top unit in battle. They also have Wish on their Dandelions, which allows you to steal initiative, and Spirit Guide that allows you to remove things from game, and also have the Flight ability to move a little bit further. The Stone Clan is all about building constructs. They have lots of units with the builder ability, which allows them to build these different constructs in the area that they are out on the board, not just their home zone. And then a lot of their things help adjacent people, so they group together to fight off your enemies. The Water Clan has the ability to do flanking, which allows you to damage the bottom unit of your opponent's squad, allowing them to thin out the weaker units first, and also all sorts of other tricks up their sleeve so that they're very versatile. There are 15 different crystals with all different special abilities, so making sure to grab the right one to give you an edge in battle will help you win overall. Crystal Clans is a game of controlling the board state, managing your initiative, and gaining crystals to best your opponents in a beautifully illustrated fantasy world. Crystal Clans is definitely an exciting two-player game. I was a huge fan of Plaid Hat's older, tactical card combat game, Summoner Wars, and a lot of people are probably going to look at this and try to compare it to that, but there's a ton of differences in this game. You definitely still have the decks of cards and moving around a different grid on a board, but other than that, the games are completely different. There's still tons of special powers, which is really cool, and Crystal Clans definitely sets itself apart. The unique thing about this game is the whole initiative track system. As you play different cards and take different actions on the board, there's a little initiative crystal slider that's going up and down the board, so you can play little small units and try to weasel it away in there and try to restrict your opponent's resources, or we can just play down huge units like big blocks of troops, because you can put 3 different cards in a different squad and be able to send those guys out. If you send them all at once, you can send that initiative way on your opponent's side, which will give them a lot to work with, but you'll definitely have a big unit on the board that you can go attack. That's another thing that's really cool, is the stacking of the different cards and units, and it turns into a squad that you can move around and try to hold those crystal areas and then take out your opponent. And the special abilities in this game, they ramped up the asymmetrical part of this to 11, because each different faction feels very unique. You get 6 different factions in the base box, and it's definitely cool to see how all of them work. I'm a huge fan of the undead, being able to bring guys back out of the discard pile, and the fact that your opponent gets crystals if your deck runs all the way out and you have to reshuffle, the fact that you can use your discard pile a lot more, that makes you not have to draw cards as often and allows you to slow that down. But then you've got the Water Clan that has the flanking, and then you've got the Flower Clan that can do all the crazy moving around and then put their opponents to sleep, so the top person on there doesn't have their attack. There's all sorts of interesting asymmetrical parts of this game. Another thing that's cool is the fact that you get those 3 units and you kind of add their stats together. But you also, the top one is the one that their special ability works, and you have to try to figure out who do you want to be leading, but they're also going to take the damage first. Do you want to have them hit in the middle or on the bottom so that they don't get the damage? How do you want to place this? How much do you want to move around? Because they also have to pay different costs for the initiative to be able to move them, so whoever has the highest in that group, so it's okay, I have these guys that are all just 1 cost to move around. Do I want to add more people that only cost 1, or do I want to put this person that costs 2 or 3 in there? Then it's going to slow them down a whole lot and make it so it's my opponent's turn faster. It's definitely lots to think about, and the depth of this game is pretty intense. It's pretty cool to see how all of that works together. So on the outside, it's oh, it's a simple, easy game to get into, but I definitely really want to dig into this game even more, because it's definitely been a lot of fun, the plays that I've had, and I'm super excited to see what else Crystal Clans has to offer. One of the things that I didn't realize at first is when you're doing the whole combat thing, it's kind of rock, paper, scissors. Are they gonna have the bull and do the bold thing? Are they gonna do the shield? Or are they gonna do the tricky thing and try to do some crazy special ability? At first it felt kind of random, I have no clue what my opponent's gonna do, I don't really know what's going on. But after you play the game several more times and you kind of know a little bit more of what's in the clan and what they're doing, you can kind of try to outthink your opponent a lot more. And I actually like the paper, rock, scissors combat mechanics in other games, and this one I felt at first oh man, it's just kind of random because I don't know what's going on. But as I started to play the game and started to see more of the cards, I could really kind of math out and try to figure out. And the fact that bold is normally going to add some attack, and then the shield or defense is going to add some defense to their characters. It's well, what are they going to be trying to do? Are they going to need more attack? Are they going to need more defense? Or are they going to do a tricky thing and try to do something crazy? If you're going up against the Flower Clan, there's tons of tricky ones that let them move around. It's Are they going to be trying to move? Like, you can try to outsmart your opponent as you try to figure things out. And then if you have the Meteor Clan, they have all sorts of stuff, like the predictability allows you to guess. They have all sorts of stuff where you can like change up look at your opponent's hand and put cards on the top of their deck, do all sorts of different stuff to like mitigate that randomness in combat of like, it's not really random, but like trying to outthink your opponent. You can just make it so you know what they're gonna do. So there's all sorts of interesting, exciting things in Crystal Clans. I definitely think you should check it out if you're into this kind of game at all. If you like Summoner Wars, this is definitely like a must-have, because it's like Summoner Wars to the next level. It's definitely very different, so you can have space on your shelf for both, and it's just exciting to be able to play this quick pace, like back and forth game where it can be a little bit long if you are trying to do board control, or you can do the aggro thing and rush and try to take down the crystals. There's all sorts of ways to play this game. Definitely excited to see what more factions they have coming down the pipeline, and that's my review of Crystal Clans. Definitely check it out, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out more reviews and Favorite Game Friday from Epic Gaming Night. Also check out their weekly podcast and social media for more epic content.